Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Apologize for the background. I'm traveling here for the next few days, so you'll just have to deal with looking at the ceiling. I do apologize for that, and the lighting is quite terrible. But regardless of that, that's not important. What's important is the charts, and what we're going to go ahead and take a look at is Bitcoin. We're going to see a few different things. We can see traditional markets are doing very well. Okay, so we're going to analyze that and just generally understand the overall sense of things because a lot of altcoins are doing well with Bitcoin dominance being down. There is potential for that to continue to be down, and if I saw correctly as well, we got to be careful because there is gold is down as well here today on the day. So again, just a handful of little factors there, but generally speaking, best practice, big picture, we're going to look at a few things here. So if you're new to the channel, just know I love teaching people to trade. I hope you can learn something here today. We do have an amazing opportunity, of course, through my signals to go ahead and benefit. I mean, take a look at this here, nice 97% from BNB. And then, of course, 28% from Bitcoin. Those are some older trades, of course, but hey, money is money, right? It all spends the same. Generally speaking, FOMC meeting yesterday was positive. 0.25% basis points. Really good stuff there in the overall sense of things. We also have a community member of the month, Zach Q. Thank you so much for just being an amazing part of our community. You did get a nice little bonus there, of course, just as a thank you for just being an amazing part of our lives there. So if you impact our community positively, you'll be on the lookout for that. Then once more, too, we took some nice short trade here with Harmony 1 at 45% in 8 hours. That trade closed out because we do have a trailing take profit there, or a trailing stop loss essentially. That closes after we took majority of our profits. So it's awesome there. Speaking of profit, we've got a Bitget competition going on right now. As a matter of fact, this is not the updated one. The current one has a smaller prize pool, but it's got a larger time frame to qualify. So if you want to be registered for that, cryptocash.tech is a site down below. Also, definitely recommend ByBit because it does partner in here with Express and my Cornix. So if you're using my auto trading, you want to be part of that. So send me a direct message with your user ID and I can get you added to that because they'll have competitions here in the near future, but super thankful to be able to have that opportunity with all those wonderful exchanges and ExpressVPN as well, just to kind of make our community a better place. So with Bitcoin, what are we looking at here? So obviously we had some very positive news yesterday that pushed the price action higher. We can see that in smaller time frames, but what we want to look at is kind of some standard stuff here first, right? So foundationally, we can see NASDAQ is up. NASDAQ does well. Bitcoin traditionally does well also. Now, Bitcoin's only half the total amount of, increase, if you will. So we can see Bitcoin 1.5%, close to 3, a little over 3% for NASDAQ. And then again, traditional markets just generally doing well. They broke through this resistance level here, and you can kind of see that they are actually doing fantastic in the overall sense of things. And that has a lot to do with yesterday's news, okay? So with regular markets coming up, we can expect Bitcoin to come up with it, okay? Now, it's not a guaranteed 1-to-1 ratio, but for the most part, we are testing a resistance level right now, and we need to respect the fact that 24,000 has notoriously been a strong resistance and or support, depending on which side you're on, right? So if we can break above that level, we might be in pretty good shape. We're going to look at smaller time frames to identify if that's a positive incline, but for the most part, we can expect that to continue to work as a resistance. There's a lot of resistance between 24 and 25,000. We've kind of established that already in previous videos, but that being said, we want to go ahead and take a look at some other things here. So first of all, we did a nice little bounce off 70 on the RSI. Okay, so it kind of reaffirms the fact that 23,000 was a strong support level. Okay, that's cool. We like that. Moving on to the MACD. We did diverge for a couple of days. That's where we took our nice short profit there for Bitcoin and Harmony 1. And now we're potentially going to converge here moving forward. So a strong closure above 24,000 would give us that convergence and the potential of increasing further from here. Again, these are more swing trading type of indicators, but they're powerful nonetheless for like longer term transitions. Okay, and we can see here again, or just like I mentioned before, even though we broke below this ascending trend line, doesn't mean we're out of the woods or we are still in the woods. I forget the analogy there, but generally speaking, it's not a bad thing because the fact that we're still above the 20-day SMA. And as I mentioned yesterday, staying above the 20-day SMA is a very positive sign. That gives us the inclination that we're still bullish on the short-term time frame. So what we can disseminate here is that the daily is looking very good. Okay, that's really just the end-all, be-all there for the daily. Taking a look at the 4-hour, we're above all moving averages. As you can see, the 200-day SMA is working fairly concurrent with the 50 on the daily, which is actually a positive sign as well. We're testing 70 on the RSI here on the 4-hour. Now keep in mind, breaking above 70 on the RSI on the 4-hour is a little more impactful. It doesn't last as long, but it's absolutely something that can run. In other words, we see here before, just kind of give you a quick little heads up, when the RSI broke up over 70 officially, we can see right there at about 9 o'clock, we had the price break through this resistance level. It literally got all the way to this point right here before the RSI came back down below 70. That's why I like to emphasize the importance of not selling once you break above 70 and to try to consider selling when the price, the RSI breaks below 70. Again, 4-hour, daily, both time frames work fairly well. I prefer to only really use the RSI on the larger time frames, but you could still use this strategy on a shorter time frame. Speaking of shorter time frames, I do have a really awesome indicator that I'm soon to put on my website here to sell. If you'd like it's a Pine script essentially, it goes right through TradingView, and that's a really nice little thing too because it works on the 15-minute time frame, and you can use RSI in a similar way. Okay, but again, more swing trading techniques, if you will gravitate more towards the 4-hour and the daily. Taking a look at the 4-hour MACD, we can see we're converging in an upward fashion here, very positive there. Still increasing the oscillator, so for lack of better terms, there's nothing negative or adverse here at all. Okay, looking really good. So all in all, the 4-hour is looking pretty strong. Let's just see if there's any overextension potential. I think we're getting close, but we might have got a reset. Technically, we didn't reset fully because right here in this range we consolidated, but it still increased. And again, TD sequential is basically just taking the 4th previous candlestick and counting up to a 9. When you hit a 9, on average, you'll see somewhat of a reversal. Okay, it's a very common characteristic. So I'm not calling out a strong reversal here by any stretch, but what could happen when we see in the next 8 hours, the price just kind of closes above 24,000. That would give us a daily closure above 24,000, and that would imply that this is going to work as a new support level moving forward. So what will happen hypothetically is if we can stay today above that level, at a 9 on TD sequential, we'll probably see more so sideways action versus a retracement. It makes a lot more sense considering the market is fairly bullish right now and that we didn't have a large basis point increase in the traditional markets. So that being said, inflation being down, so to speak, we can see that that's reflecting positive with an upward momentum. Okay, so again, 4 hours looking pretty strong here, even though we're going into a 9 in the next 8 hours. Looking at the hourly, let's see if we see anything here. I think we got a reset around, what was 7 or 8? No, actually, we did technically hit a 9 here, kind of consolidated, and we're kind of doing somewhat of a handle pattern. This is an ugly cup and handle, but it is fairly consistent. In other words, we get a retest at that level multiple times. While we did break above it here, we were overextended, came back down to retry. So it'd make a lot of sense in the next 8 hours for the price to continue higher. I don't think it's going to be like shooting through the roof. We shouldn't expect 25K or further, but I do feel like we could see a test of that range if we were to break above and close above here in this level. So to me, the hourly, while it's slightly overextended recently, we're fulfilling that cup and handle pattern, and it would make a tremendous amount of sense for it to continue higher after a lot of the shorts get squeezed out. Taking one last look here at the Ichimoku Cloud, we can see if you have a long position open, you may want to consider taking profit because again, we're at the extent of this run. Unless we can push up very soon, there's a great chance that we might pull back. But we have a tremendous amount of momentum, conversion lines above the baseline, and once again, the price were to pull back, 23.7 might be the lowest point, which it should go, and then we see a bounce to the upside. So all 3 time frames are telling us very positive things here, letting us know that we're in pretty good shape. That said, if we can see the current situation here and overall, I would say that we are mostly bullish, but it would make more sense for the price action to increase in the immediate future and then decrease over the next couple of days. Or when I say decrease, I just mean somewhat of a correction or at least sideways action. So we're probably going to be range bound somewhere between 23.7 and 25K. That seems very likely. One last thing to look at here is on the larger time frames. Once again, just to reiterate, we had a lot of resistance at the 24.5 to 25,000 range back in August of 22. Okay, so when we tried to break through that little, as you can see, we kind of got rejected by the cloud here. In general, we are in a situation right now where if we retest that level, we should see an initial rejection followed by a retest. We've consistently retested, and even though RSI and everything is overextended on the daily, there's no doubt that this is still likely to continue to run. We had a decent amount of consolidation here, and further upside makes much more sense right now than it would for it to decrease in price and to come down and drop to fill that gap at 20 to 21,000. While I still think that's a possibility, I think right now in the immediate future, it's not a probability for us to see a significant decrease unless there's some kind of fundamental catalyst. And we saw what the fundamental catalyst did for us yesterday, right? 0.25% is not bad at all, and the price continues higher. So that's where we're at here. Hopefully that made sense and I described that correctly. And I hope that you had a good learning experience here, of course. If you want to become a better trader again, cryptocash.tech is a website. We've got a brand new website coming out actually later today, if not mistaken. Very excited. And of course, look forward to working with you if you are not currently a community member. Thanks again for all that you do if you are. And we'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.